it. I think if you start with the idea like I want to make millions of dollars, that's the issue.
Wrong.
Now your motivation's kind of fucked up. I want to make millions. What does that even mean? That's like fat people saying I want to lose weight. It's like, dude, you have no plan. You want to lose weight? Yeah, you need to have, I want to lose exactly 60 pounds in 6 months. And then this is the diet plan I need to have. You don't say, I just want to lose weight. Okay, great. Open-ended goals like that means zero for your brain. You don't even subconsciously start to wire in a path to get there. So same shit with I want $1 million. All right, cool, bro. Just put your thumb up your ass too then while you're at it because you won't do shit. Yeah. But hey, there's a whole mentality problem that guys have to get over. Like I noticed it again, even recently. I finally did some new shirts and mugs about some of the things we're talking about on stream. And you'll notice there's a small subset. It's always a small subset of guys that are just the naysayers, dude. Literally everything to them is negative. You know, you'll post up, let's say I made a post and I put some of the shirt designs up in the mugs. And immediately, you know, most people like it. You get like hundreds of likes and then there's like 30 comments, you know, the small percentage of these like naysayers, and they'll comment like, no one's buying that shit, AI slop, blah, blah, blah. And I'm reading that, so I'm like, wow, if you only knew these shirts and mugs that you call slop print more than your paycheck. You know, even at a 0.1%, at 1% of the audience I have, and already 4 people bought something in like the 30 minutes that I put it up. And it's still growing. There's more sales happening because the people were waiting on some of the stuff that are obviously the ones that are watching on stream, but just people that support the channel in general. And it's like, dude, I have, and I'll be approaching, let me refresh really quick. Just to see here. Orders. Okay. I'm going to have close to $200 in profit after shipping on shirts and mugs. On shirts and mugs off of a post. And there's currently 5 live visitors on the website right now. Me not included. I'm not on the website. There's 5 people right now browsing the products. So these guys, instead of taking that as like, damn, this dude is making some AI designs and he's leveraging his audience and he's making another form of, revenue for the platform that he's on. And it's like, this is the way I need to think. Instead of thinking that's smart, diversifying revenue through your existing audience, right? Leveraging what you have. What could I leverage? What do I got that I could leverage to make extra money, extra income? The first thought in some of these guys' mind is to tear something down. Like that's their mentality by default, tearing down. So it's not that they're just tearing down me. The saddest part about all this is that they tear themselves down, because if they're talking like that on the comments, they talk to themselves like that. So the most pathetic part of this is that when you're such a negative minded individual, I know you stop yourself from doing incredible things. I know you've talked yourself out of an idea because you said it was gay and nobody would buy that, or nobody would listen to this, or no, there's no value in this idea. There's so many men that live by that little negative credo, and it spreads throughout their life. Everything is gay. Everything is fake. Everything is negative. Nothing will succeed. It doesn't even matter. You don't even have to call it doomer mentality, because they might not go as deep as doomer mentality and just blame the world and society and everything in it except themselves. I just mean when it comes to simple ideas, I don't need their support. It means nothing to me. People already support enough. But at least put yourself in a positive mind state. At least be like, that's a neat idea. Shirts, not my style. Wouldn't buy them, but, you know, respect the grind, respect the hustle. And then have your mind go in that positive loop of, damn, I need a hustle too. What else could I do with the skill set that I have? They are completely green with envy and hate. It's like, I had a moment, I found this like picture, such a cool picture on Instagram one time of, it shows a little kid riding his bicycle, and he's like riding past the Porsche that's parked. And then the caption was like, this is how it all begins. And and that was like perfectly describing the mentality that you need to have. And the one I grew up with, I never envied guys in Ferraris or Porsches or Lambos or people with a ton of money. I was always like in awe. And I looked up to them and I was, how do you make this money? What's so different about this person? How did they get this far ahead? They can't be special. They can't be any more different than me. Are they that much smart? Like, what is it? And I was always inquisitive about this stuff. But these people, that same kid that looks at that Porsche, he probably has a negative mentality of like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? I should key his car. Fuck this guy in the Porsche. He's not better than me. He's a piece of shit. Blah, 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 blah. And that's their personality. That's their mentality. That's the software they have installed. That's the voice they have in their head. Dude, it must be draining. I could only imagine what it's like to be in the mind of some of these men. It must be the most draining shit ever. You must drain the life out of everyone around you. Can you imagine if anybody comes to you and tries to tell you a plan or a dream they have, and Mr. Negative over here, Mr. I clock in, Mr. like I make my $12 an hour, just hating up a storm on everyone and everything around him. And it's like the misery, bro. You're just wallowing in it like a pig. Like these people love to be miserable. And all the things going wrong in their lives, it's because everything else is wrong, not them. And so they externalize blame. They never take accountability for themselves, almost like women in a sense. The world's after me. It's not my fault that I'm failing. It's not, I'm down on my luck. The world won't give me a shot. No one gives you a shot, bro. You make your own luck in this world. It's all through hard work. Hard work, weirdly enough, is when you get lucky. How weird is it that every time you've ever worked hard, your luck starts to change? Haven't guys noticed this pattern? Unfortunately, they don't, because it's all negative to them. They don't even start on the hard work to get a little bit of luck going in their lives. And these people are extremely dangerous to hang around, dude. That mentality, like, especially when it's from family, when somebody, it's like your family, you care about what they have to say. Of the few people in the world whose opinions that matter, your family's one of them, because that's your blood. It's the worst when you're surrounded by these kinds of people and they're your blood. And they suck the fucking potential out of you because they got their potential sucked out of them from their family. And now you're perpetuating this like generational trauma of sucking the potential out of one another. And you have to let these people go. And that includes your family. You will never get into the entrepreneur mentality. You will never find success when you're surrounded by garbage mentality, when you're surrounded by people who think poor. You have to start to think rich. You have to think differently. And if you surround yourself with chickens, bro, you can never soar with the eagles. There's like a quote that says that. You have to be around different mindseted people in order to start looking, not just consciously, but subconsciously. You have to start thinking positively to yourself too. This shit is extremely powerful. It sounds so voodoo and gay and vibey. You must think positive. But literally, your thoughts transform into actions. Your actions transform into habits. And then your habits make you where you are today. Your habits are literally your outcome in life. It's just a simple flow. It's a very logical flow. You think negative, you start to behave negatively. Your negative behavior gives you the consequences which put you in the position you are today. Like nobody wakes up and, 50, 60 years old, finds themselves a failure, and it was a complete accident. No, you're the sum of all your actions, your habits, right? Show me your habits and I'll show you your outcome. But that stems from mentality first. So those guys that are complaining on that random post with the merch or whoever else, when we're talking about Claude Code, there's people in those comment section, you could read it. And they'll say the same shit. This fucking AI slob, code is garbage. Yeah, but do you have $1 million idea? I think one comment was like, yeah, bro, but who gives a shit about all this coding? You still need $1 million idea. And it's like, that's the point, stupid. Think for a second. You want people to hand you $1 million idea? It's like, that's your job. Find it. Nah, there's no point in even trying this shit until you got the $1 million idea. It's like, and now we know why you're poor. So it's that funny thing that poors are gonna pour. Because really, poverty is a mentality. There are, of course, a bunch of edge cases where you were born into poverty and something happened. You got shot walking down the street and your life tumbled out of control. Cool story, bro. But for the most part, poverty is mental because there's plenty of poor people that make it out of the ghetto. And they think different. And we look up to them. They made it out the ghetto. Those people would have made it out of any situation because you could look at them and go, yeah, they're different, dude. They just think completely different. You could put them, you can drop them off any out. They're going to get out of their situation. That mentality to get you out of the situation you're in today. So your mentality literally reflects your situation today. If you're a fat person, for example, you have the mentality of a fat person. You eat, bro. You don't stop eating. You don't work out. Your body literally reflects your mentality. Right? Same shit. You undereat and you're skinny as fuck. Yeah, because you stop yourself from eating. You don't eat enough. You're anorexic. You're anemic. All this shit. Bro, your mentality. If you're poor, if you got no money in your bank account, do you spend money on dumb shit? Do you order Uber Eats? Do you blow your paycheck? Like most people are horrible managing their money. Horrible. They blow their paychecks immediately as soon as they get them. Yeah, it's no surprise you have no savings. It's no surprise you didn't think about the future, bro. You're living like YOLO and shit. You only got 5 more days left or something. It looks like you got a fucking cancer diagnosis and you're clocking out of life in 5 days. That's how you're living. It's crazy. And they can't see this is happening to themselves. They just think this is circumstance of life. I wasn't born with a silver spoon. You know, these are other guys, were so lucky. You know, they had help. They had this. That's cope, bro. It's cope. Most of these new self-made minted millionaires had no fucking help. They did it on their own. Some guy is now about to have he already has $1 billion company. He used Claude Code to code up some shit with GLP-1s. He's like the middleman selling GLP-1s, matching clients to providers. And he made $400 million in like the first, I think, 6 months. And then something like 18 months in, they're at $1.2 billion in sales. It's just him. It's just him. So the first $1 billion company is already created by one man using code from Claude or ChatGPT or whatever the fuck. It's already there. Like your capability is already there. And the naysayers will say the same shit. Yeah, but he knew something that I didn't. He had this experience that I don't. Dude, you can make excuses about literally any single thing in life and enjoy living that lifestyle that an excuse maker has to live. You're surviving, bro. You're on your fucking paycheck. You got no money at the end of the month in the account. You're living quite literally check to check. Are you tired yet? Right? Are you sick of surviving? You have to ask yourself, like, at what point do you just take your fucking foot out of your own ass and get moving? I don't know. What's rock bottom for most people? I don't know, dude. A fat person only changes when that last comment, that last bit of shame was like the breaking point, and they snap and they go, never the fuck again. And then they're not fat ever again. And they're like shredded as fuck with an 8-pack. And all of a sudden everybody's like, well, they're lucky. Their work ethic is whatever, XYZ. Well, they're blessed to be in this position because they could go to gym every day. Literally everybody will make excuses. But you see how fat that person looked like 2-3 years ago, and they hated themselves and they thought about ending it all multiple times. The same position the people hating on them are in currently. The fat people will literally be hating on fat people that lost weight. Isn't that shit crazy? The poor people will literally be hating on poor people that made it out of the gutter. It's always the crabs that drag you back, bro. The crabs that you're closest to. If you ever got a story about how you made it out of this, or you made money doing this, or you created this business, it'll be those gutter rats you were next to that hate you the most. Those people you remind that you were in the same position they were, but you made it out. Those are the worst motherfuckers, dude. It's them. They're all the haters. Shit, what's up? My bad, guys. I didn't know I was muted. What's going on? We'll get started here pretty soon. We're going to watch what Trump was talking about, some crazy stuff. And got the new goodies on the merch. Shout outs to the Bunch of people that was buying stuff today. The nine of you that are already in the merch store right now looking at stuff. Appreciate you guys. As usual. We'll go through some of the new stuff. I dig it. I dig it. Need some fresh coffee. Had an interesting chat in the private community. We're ready to rock. Software working. tribeofmen@yahoo.com is a good one. Yeah. And I'll get your message there.
At Philosopher for Truth donated $5. I am a white Southerner. I love my culture. The haters hate. They cannot be like us. Free and living. Lots of people wish they was Southern.
Hey. I like Southerners, dude. They're pretty chill. I grew up in Atlanta, so. Those boys get down. Okay. So let me put up this right here. Let me get my little app running. Hopefully you guys have had a good weekend. Happy late Easter to all of you. Hopefully you had a pretty relaxing Easter. Not crashing out on the internet like our president. All right, so what do we got here? Legion of Men -shop.fourthwall.com. Let me just put the link in the description. What am I doing? If you guys wanted to check out some of the merch, snag yourself some of the new stuff. There you go. I just put it up. I'll throw it up on Kick too. Bam, we got a Top Goy shirt. Finally got this done. It's looking sweet, fresh to death. Then we got some new designs. Perfect for mugs especially. We got our Goy bots delivering us our Goy slop. Look at this. We got our bug pizza. We have our bug sandwich from the WEF and Bill Gates approved. And this is our Goy bot delivery service to you know who. Your Goy box. Your Goy pods. Yeah, so on the other, it's 2 bots. I put 2 on each side depending on you're a righty or a lefty when you're drinking. That's Goy bot 1. And then look at this creeper right here. This is number 2. You got a nice little smile on him. And the text it's like droopy with little roaches on there too. Yeah. Goybot serving you up that goodie. That chitin, whatever they have in there. High protein. Here's another one. This one was my favorite because his face, brother. The face just took me out when this was getting generated. Beautiful. Beautiful text. Green splatter with bugs everywhere. Fire. And on the other side of the mug is the other one. So we have a couple of variations. We got them going on shirts too. If you want some shirts, mugs, I'll have to put the stickers up a little later, but they're ready to rock. I have to do, we have these too. I forgot about these. Of course, she took a Legion tee that we were talking about not too long ago. And it's a dude in a thobe proposing to chick. There's a whole Legion behind him and they have funny quote text. One says, that was me in 42 BC. I was number 17. Her exes. And the Legio behind with the SPQR on the shields. Told you she'd say yes eventually. So we have this one. Available in multiple colors. And then this was the one. She took a whole Legion of Men. And we got a modern woman up there. Obviously, she's looking very modern. With a simp. And you married her at the bottom. We got these on mugs too. These are fire, dude. I love these. Yeah. So I'm definitely getting my own for mugs and shirts. I'm going to sport this at the gym when I'm fucking crushing it. These are so good, dude. Let me get through some of the
Adaron Clary 5870 donated $10. Email me. Been trying to get in contact with you for years.
Is it the Aaron Clary? The actual one? I don't know. The 5870, bro, is kind of suspect. If it actually is you, just send me an email. Yeah, is it? It's a little sus. I don't know. He's got the bot name, Tyler Wiggins 5870. It's giving me Uncanny Valley vibes. But if it is you, dude, just send me an email saying the real Aaron Clary. Just put that in the subject. I'll see it. I check all the time. But it is a little sus. It does look like a bot. I'm not sure, but bots don't give $10, so maybe. That's a weird name to have and say email me. Yeah, it'd be too dedicated for a troll to donate. We have this variation in white too if you're looking for a clean tee. Dude, these are so good. These are so good. Aaron, if that is you and you send it in right now, I literally have on my screen my email, so I'll clock it and put a star by it and respond right away. If that is you. Of course, we have our little funny Wallies. They're not Wallies. I can't say that. It's a different model update. Goiba, I think these came out so good, dude. These are fire. Yeah, you can get them in whatever color you want. So.
L donated $5. Bo, I know that you talk about some Asia for passport bros and all that, but what about for me? I'm Italian American and my parents are from Sicily. Do you think Southern Italy is cooked too?
Bro, if I were you, I would have been left for Italy. Are you out of your fucking mind? What? Dude, forget Southeast Asia. Go get an Italian broad. What are you doing? It's like it's not even close. It's not even close, dude. Fuck Southeast Asia. Go to Italy. What? Your bloodline is there. Do you have a dual citizenship? That'd be tight if you had a dual citizenship too.
Adaron Clary 5870 donated $5. I'm a boomer with boomer tech skills. Will email you.
Likewise, brother. I feel like Unc. It's okay. I'm a millennial. I'm struggling. I'm barely learning to do this thing these kids are calling vibe coding. We're trying to not get passed up by the times. It ain't easy.
At Philosopher for Truth donated $5. Being 35 years old, my attitude on life is different. I am the man I am glad to see in the mirror. I came a long way in confidence and new man.
Good shit, man. I'm glad you're making progress. Sometimes, hey, arriving late's better than never arriving at all, yeah? 35 is not old. She took a whole Legion of Men mugs. Dude, I need the mugs now. I need these fucking samples to come in now. These mugs are fire, dude. Okay. Yeah, so we got all the goodies. Of course, the Top Goy mugs. That was a hit. Make masculinity great again. The hats. Top Goy hats. All the good shit, dude. I'm going to make way more stuff. If you wanted to just do the Tribe of Men, the old logo that we had on the back of your shirt, we got that too. And of course, we have the Bug Sandwich Classic. Yes. So we got a bunch of goodies coming in. I'll be working on more of these. I'm going to try to make them on like a rotational basis. So kind of like a collection thing. We're only going to have them up temporarily. I'm thinking something like 30 to 60 days. And then when we bring in a fresh new set, that's it. So it kind of gets like a collectible feel. Once you got them, you got them. I don't know if we'll rotate these back in ever after doing that, but just to give them something like a special feeling, you had to be there to get one, right? Shit like that. Some we'll keep, like the Top Goys, but some of these that are like special designs like this, I think we'll make them like collectibles, seasonal.
At Walkin' Toucan donated $4.99. Besides Italy, what other countries are good for passport bros?
Since you're Italian, just go all over the Balkans. Where else? Yeah, I would just do Eastern Europe, Balkan Europe, sit your ass over there in Italy. Don't go anywhere else. You would do really well in Scandinavia too, by the way. They like Italians. So it's a positive. I think Italian men were rated the most attractive by Europeans. You do well in Europe. Yeah. Don't go anywhere else in the world. Maybe Argentina. Let me check. Check this shit. Yeah, okay.
At Philosopher for Truth donated $5. I am not a virgin, but the 2010s was a horror and the 2020s mayhem, but these tough times made me better. Tired of propaganda lies, Marxist lies.
Yeah, it's everywhere, dude. I can't believe how much worse it's gotten in the last 10 years. I feel like it's passing me by now. If I were to get the game now, it got way worse. We skipped straight into every relationship is transactional. Women accept being prostituted for bags and clothes and paying bills, and that's normal now. That shit used to be looked down upon by society. Now it's an expectation. Wow, we're living in wild time. And the expectation comes with nothing attached. So you have to give, and she gives you nothing back. You're still getting attitude. You're still getting lip service. You're still getting a headache. You're still getting a bitch that's combative. She's not cooking. She's not cleaning. She's not doing shit. Dude, I understand if you got it like that as a man and you were paying for your bitch, but to not get nothing is fucking mind-blowing. Like, these women think because they breathe air, they deserve it all. What? That's crazy. Shit, hoes had more sense back in my day. Hoes knew they had to do something for $1. Now these hoes think breathing air and they're entitled to your dollars.
At Twakin2can donated $4.99. Adding to what I previously said, do you have any advice for getting then maintaining a roster and ducking marriage?
Oh, so for getting women, maintaining the roster and ducking marriage? I think that's going to be the standard of most men. Look, my parents were married and I lived in an idyllic household, and that is my idyllic take on the world. It was successful. I want that for my kids. I want that for myself. If I came from a broken home or if my parents got divorced, I'd be an absolute demon on the streets. I understand. My go-to would be literally what every other guy with money's doing. I would have bitches from all over the world. I'd spread my seed long and far, and I have the money to support them. And that would be the default. Technically, I'd be winning in nature's eyes that way. But I wasn't raised with this fucking, what could you even call it? Low IQ style breeding tactics. I actually would like to invest in my children, would like to have somebody next to me when I'm 80 something years old and can hardly move, and just look out on my property while my kids are playing and just say, I built that shit, built it, and just looking and being content with life. Yeah, this degenerate worldview, I'm not for it. I understand why it's happening. I understand how pathetic the average woman has become. I understand how subversive the laws are against men. And I understand. It's just I was raised in different conditions. So in a sense, I'm biased, you could say. Do I recommend marriage to men? Absolutely not. I'm only doing it under very extreme circumstances, and I have an extreme lifestyle. I can afford to get raped. I could afford to go to court and lose half my shit. My life doesn't change. My outcome doesn't change. Most men are not in that position. It's a very stupid position to put yourself in. I only believe in it because I got an old world style thinking woman with a old world style relationship and an old world style mentality. And that's the only reason. That's it, dude. If I was having to date these young chicks that don't know how to do shit around the house, don't know how to take care of a man, expect everything and give nothing, absolutely fucking I'm pumping and dumping. I'm being real. I'm just being completely honest. I think every man would be in this. Every man that's given these opportunities would be in that scenario exactly. the Tates of the world and all these other guys that get money, status, whatever, and just get 10 girlfriends. I totally understand. Is that healthy for society long term? Of course not. If everybody regresses to that state, of course not. We are regressing culturally. Society is falling apart. Our institutions can't be trusted anymore. And as a result of all of this, the rot in the culture, it's seeped into the bones of the people. So now we act our worst impulses, treat each other like either competition or something to get something out of, something to be leveraged. And voila, you have the society we have today, where women actively accept prostituting themselves. Men actively accept sending women money just to say hello in their DMs. Marriage is dead, if not already. You know what I mean? It's on the way out for sure. It's going to be a luxury that only rich people get to do. And we already have nearly, 50% kids are being born out of wedlock. 75% in the black community. I believe the numbers were 75% in the black community, half Hispanic, 20% for white, even less for Asian, but the average is half. And you can see what happens to kids born out of wedlock. I mean, the statistics aren't good, dude. We have the system that we had, and it's functioned so well. I'm not going to pretend I know better than my predecessors, so I'm going to attempt to do the marriage thing.
At Philosopher for Truth donated $2. Look up fourth turning theory. Explains everything.
I know about the fourth turning, yeah. Is it risky, dude? Of course. But I love playing with fire, so. Like I said, controlled burns. If I didn't have this kind of potential for earning money all over the world, or have earned the amount of money I've earned and, shit like that, I would not attempt it. I couldn't even afford to attempt it, to be completely honest. Yeah. So I feel like marriage is a luxury for the wealthy, and it doesn't benefit a man whatsoever. Assuming you get a decent woman. Now, you can pimp out Instagram prostitutes and make them your wife or your baby's mama's, Tate style. That's fine. But, yeah. Not my cup of tea. Who knows? I may eat these words maybe one day. But at least I said I tried. At least I tried, Jesus. Shit. You gotta shoot your shot in life, bro. You only get one chance. I just made sure I could bounce back. That's my mentality. All right, let's get into this. Mr. Trump.
It's been one of the best. So, good afternoon. We have quite a bit to discuss. We'll go into pretty good detail. And we have the people that are most involved. We'll give you exactitude. And we're here today to celebrate the success of one of the largest, most complex, most harrowing combat searches.
What's interesting about this is I'm sure Trump will give up more and more information on this stuff. Let me speed it up too. He speaks a little slow. Apparently, we were attempting to grab nuclear material in Isfahan. The op failed. We had the downed F-15 pilot. We have a bunch of AC-130s. We had a bunch of other aircraft that were down, 12 in total, what's being reported. Aircraft that aren't supposed to be there for a search and rescue mission. It seems like we've inserted, and Trump even names, I think 64 fighters later, I saw a clip of this actual press release here. So how interesting is it that you have to think about it like this? Would we really send all these aircraft, all these special forces for a search and rescue? 2 little birds got exploded, 2 not AC-130s, but some designation, MCH-130, something like that, and a couple of other planes supporting aircraft, Warthog and something else, was downed in a huge firefight. There's videos all over in Iran showing them directly engaging United States forces.
As you would call it, a search and rescue mission, ever attempted by the military.
So basically, sorry to cut in again, but essentially, Trump asked the I would say his generals, or maybe Hegseth did, asked the generals to draw up a plan to go recover the nuclear material. Apparently the ones that got fired recently, like the 12 that he let go or so, how many ever there were the ones that were the dissenting voices. And fast forward a few days later, I think Washington Post reported on that too, that Trump had plans drawn up to go get the nuclear material confirmed. Then a couple of days later, after firing the generals, all of a sudden we have a major situation on our hands. And what we're being told is that we're just recovering a few pilots, but apparently much more shit happened. And the pilot, apparently people were geo-tracking things, and he was over 100 miles away from where the crash site was reported and where he got picked up, something of that nature. So the guy had to, walk 100 miles in one day, being injured no less. Nobody walks 100 miles. Dude, it's like when you start to piece together the story, it just sounds so stupid.
Military, generally when planes are knocked down in war, especially when you're fighting a strong group, an evil group, you can't really do this because
who really knows,
you send in 200 men to pick up one.
You see? That sounds crazy, right? You send in 200 men? Listen to all this.
And it's something that's usually not attempted as much as you want to attempt. And bad things happen to that one or two. And in this case, we did two, and it might not have been attempted before, but we did. And we had great talent. We got a little luck too, I would say. And we were helped by a lot of people, a lot of great people. And it was an honor to be involved with it. It's very historic. This is a rescue that's very historic. It'll go down in the books late Thursday night. An American F-15 fighter jet.
Thanks, Des, for the 100 kicks, brother. What's going on?
Went down deep inside enemy territory in Iran while participating in Operation Epic Fury, where we're doing unbelievably well at a level that nobody's ever seen before. The entire country could be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night. Both members of the crew ejected from the aircraft and landed alive. On Iranian soil, I immediately was asked to make a decision. I ordered the U.S. Armed Forces to do whatever was necessary to bring our brave warriors back home. A risky decision, because we could have ended up with 100 dead as opposed to 1 or 2. It's a hard decision to make.
So doesn't that sound like we were trying to take nuclear material? Doesn't that sound like we inserted a bunch of spec ops and we tried to create the runway that they were trying to approve the plans for? Fortify a runway so that we can go take the nuclear material and get out? 100 men?
But in the United States military, we leave no American behind. We don't do it. Within hours, our armed forces deployed 21 military aircraft into hostile airspace, many flying at very low altitude, being shot by bullets. You bring rifles into play when you're going that low, but there are also certain advantages. And in broad daylight over Iran for 7 hours, at times facing very, very heavy enemy fire. We have a helicopter that's got a lot of bullets in it. It's amazing. We just realized how good those weapons are. Our machines are. Nobody has the equipment that we have, and nobody has the military that we have. Not even close. We're the most powerful military anywhere in the world by far. The flight crews and warfighters aboard those aircraft took extraordinary risks to rescue their fellow service members. This first wave of search and rescue forces successfully located the pilot of the F-15, and he was extracted from enemy territory by an HH-60 Jolly Green 2 helicopter. Fabulous machine as our warriors faced gunfire at very close range. It's amazing that when you look at the machinery, what happened, that nobody was even injured. Meanwhile, the second crew member, a weapons system officer, highly respected colonel, had landed a significant distance away from the pilot. When you're going at those speeds, even if you go out 2 or 3 seconds later, it's miles and miles away.
Look at this damage. I wanted to show you guys this stuff. Look at what this shit looks like. So it says the downed pilot was a fake cover story for a failed U.S. military operation to capture Iran's primary stockpile of highly enriched 60% uranium, roughly 440 to 970 pounds. The primary stockpile is located at Isfahan, exactly where the pilot was, quote, lost. This explains why the U.S. heavily bombed the area while searching and why the C-130s were destroyed without loss of life. The C-130s were hit on the ground while the special forces attempted to secure the material. The entire operation became a massive rescue operation to extract the soldiers. Look at all of this shit here. Just aircraft everywhere. This stuff looks insane, dude. Look at all of this shit. So what the fuck? That was not planned. So that's insane. And there's a bunch of other people that kind of had more information on this, but I'll find it as Trump is talking. Just to let you know just how crazy shit has become.
You're going fast. He was injured quite badly and stranded in an area teeming with terrorists from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps rough group, as well as besieged militia and local authorities. Many, on top of everything else, they told the communities actually within inside of Iran, the people of Iran, they were given a tremendous incentive to find this pilot. Despite the peril, the officer followed his training and climbed into.
So this is what doesn't make any sense. It says the airstrip the 2 C-130J landed on is only 37 kilometers from the uranium underground tunnel complex at Isfahan Nuclear Tech Center. They used 3 C-130Js for extraction, which makes zero sense unless it's a large operation. Now, would you need 3 C-130s to extract a downed pilot? Isn't that crazy? And they say the cylinders themselves, they're 55-pound cylinders. So the nuclear the material that they're trying to secure can be driven in 15 minutes. And you got to think, those little birds that were downed, those fit in the 130s. And once they set up the props and all that stuff, within a couple of minutes, they can fly them. So you fly in with the little birds, then you only have to go 22 miles. And you have other transport vehicles, I'm guessing, in the 130s. And so you get in nearby, drive to location, eliminate some targets, get all the 55-pound cylinders, secure all the material, bring that shit back. And of course, you need a heavy lift like a 130 to pull all that material and fly it out. So something happened in the middle of this op. They encountered stiff resistance. Something went wrong. The mission to recover said pilot was most likely the cover for what the real mission actually was. Maybe the pilot they weren't supposed to be downed whatsoever. Maybe they were doing some form of targeting run, strafing targets, whatever. They had some mission that went south because it got downed by the IRST system. And then it kind of turned into a shit fest. And we went and, last minute just pieced together a rescue plan to get those boys out of there safely. Iran is reporting that we have actual casualties. Unconfirmed. You don't know what's true. Obviously, the fog of war is super thick. But whatever their story is not the actual story.
To the treacherous mountain terrain and started climbing toward a higher altitude, something they were trained to do in order to evade capture. They want to always go as far away from the site of the shoot down. You want to go as far away because they all head right to that site. You want to be as far away as you can. And he was injured, and he was an amazing, amazing thing. He scaled cliff faces, bleeding rather profusely, treated his own wounds, and contacted American forces to transmit his location. They have a very sophisticated beeper-type apparatus that is on them at all times.
Yeah, they're beacons. But check this out. So does this make sense to you guys? I found another good post here. So he says, if I got this right, here's the narrative. A U.S. F-15E fighter jet got shot down over Iran, despite Trump saying 2 days beforehand in his nationwide address that Iran has no anti-aircraft equipment. Their radar is 100% annihilated. Then, the plane's weapons system officer, a highly respected colonel, according to Trump, ejected from the plane and got seriously wounded, according to Trump. He still managed to hike up a 7,000-foot mountain ridgeline and hide in a crevice in the Zagros Mountains despite his wounds. Then a U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drone started killing all Iranian military-age males believed to be a threat who got within 3 kilometers of the Americans' location. Then, to retrieve him, the U.S. managed to seize an abandoned airport 200 miles deep into Iran near Isfahan. That's weird. Which happens to be where Iran's largest atomic scientific center is located. Do you believe in coincidences? Then, they landed 2 MC-130 military transport planes in that airport, in an operation involving hundreds of special forces troops and military personnel. So he's linking all here. This is from the Times article. Both MC-130 planes got stuck in sand, and the U.S. destroyed them themselves to prevent them from falling into Iranian hands. And some people were looking at the images, and you could see clear shrapnel damage on the MC-130 frames, the pieces of the frames that were left over. Interesting. They then deployed 3 new aircraft to extract all the U.S. personnel on the ground. There are videos circulating online of heavy clashes with presumably Iranian missiles raining down in the Kogilia County in the Zagros Mountains during the night. Iran sent pictures of the aftermath at the abandoned airport, and it's a sign of utter destruction with U.S. planes and an MH-6 helicopter parts scattered all over the ground, still smoking. Iran claims they're the ones who in fact destroyed all the aircraft. Then, meanwhile, a second U.S. plane, a A-10 Warthog, also crashed Friday near the Strait of Hormuz, according to U.S. officials. In all of this, after multiple planes and helicopters destroyed or shot down, the documented heavy clashes, and the hundreds of special forces troops and military personnel operating deep inside Iran, not a single U.S. soldier was reportedly killed or even wounded, according to Trump. And the highly respected colonel, this was all for no name, no photo, no interview. Nobody has spoken to him nor knows who he is. So to sum it all up, an anti-aircraft equipment that supposedly didn't exist, shot down an F-15 and apparently an A-10 Warthog the same day. A seriously wounded man climbed up 2 kilometers up a mountain. The U.S. seized an airfield 200 miles inside of a country it's at war with, next to one of its strategic nuclear sites, and deployed hundreds of troops, all apparently unimpeded. Lost 2 planes to sand and destroyed their own helicopters. And then we have videos circulating showing heavy clashes, missiles raining down, but not a single person got wounded. And the man at the center of it all, nobody knows who he is, completely anonymous, 0 pictures, but Trump says he's safe and sound. And so is a rescued A-10 Warthog pilot, who also remains anonymous. Trump concludes all this proves that the U.S. achieved overwhelming air dominance and superiority over the Iranian skies, despite the whole episode only happening because Iran shot his planes out the sky. What? Does that make any sense? And then it says the planes that got stuck in sand. And look at the video of these. That's a lot of shit to rescue one pilot. Seems a bit strange to me. But I'm not a military expert. What the fuck do I know? I just know it don't smell right. So, okay, we'll continue.
And when they go out on these missions, they make sure they have lots of battery space and...
Oh, shit, these work, dude. Let me see. Hold on. Hey, they work again. Nice. Hell yeah. The cues work for the sub alerts again, thankfully. I just need to add the sound.
They're in good shape. And this one worked really well, amazingly, saved his life. We immediately mobilized a massive operation to retrieve him from the mountain holdout. And he kept going higher and higher. The mountain kept getting rougher and rougher and really very, very hard to find. The second rescue mission involved 155 aircraft, including 4 bombers, 64 fighters, 48 refueling tankers, 13 rescue aircraft, and more. We were bringing them all over, and a lot of it was subterfuge. We wanted to have them think he was in a different location because they had a vast military force out there. Thousands of people were looking. So we wanted them to look in different areas. So we were scattered all over like we were right on top of them. We had 7 different locations where they thought, and they were very confused. They said, well, wait a minute, they've got groups here, they've got groups there. It's an amazing thing. I was listening to these great people, these great generals. General Raisin Cain was amazing, and Pete Hegseth was amazing. But I listened to the whole thing. It was pretty amazing. So they had all these different sites where everybody thought he was located. We think we have him over there because they have 9 planes circling a little area that's 25 miles down the coast. So in a breathtaking show of skill and precision, lethality and force, America's military descended on the area, the real area, engaged the enemy, rescued the stranded officer, destroyed all threats, and exited Iranian territory while taking no casualties of any kind. The heroic F-15 weapons system officer had evaded capture on the ground in Iran for
we all know it's Rambo.
almost 48 hours. That's a long time when you're in tough shape and when you're bleeding. It's a long time. When we left, as you probably know, we had 2 large planes, pretty old planes that carried a lot. We needed a lot more equipment going in than coming out, obviously, because going in, we needed to be able to scale mountains, and we had a lot of equipment. But the sand was sandy, wet sand, so we thought there may be a problem taking off because of the weight of the plane, and then we also had all the men jumping back onto the planes, and they got pretty well bogged down, and we had a contingency plan, which was unbelievable, where lighter, faster aircraft came in, and they took them out. We blew up the old planes. We blew them up to smithereens because we had equipment on the planes that, frankly, we'd like to take, but I don't think it was worthwhile spending another 4 hours there taking it off. So we didn't want anybody to have. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. We didn't want anybody examining our anti-aircraft and other equipment. So these were large planes that were old and pretty old, and we blew them up. And we had faster, lighter planes come in, and they were able to land on the sand. We needed the bigger planes because we had so much equipment that we needed. We took 3 helicopters over there, which were very strongly used and couldn't have lived without them. They did.
Jeez. At Overenergy 6,534 donated $5. Do you think they will use a nuke?
I don't think so. That's crossing a major red line. I mean, China already said don't fucking do it. Russia's already going to say don't do it. That's going to set a precedent. Russia would then just freely nuke Ukraine. Nah, it's a red line you can't cross, man. You're going to become a pariah internationally. People want to, yeah. You're going to be, someone said nukes aren't real. Yeah, until they start fucking melting you. Nukes aren't real. They're too powerful, too dangerous. The warfare of the future is strictly material. Who can produce the most drones, autonomous weapon system, missiles? And then number 2 is who's got the most bodies. China's the most dangerous because they have both.
They performed unbelievably well. And if you'd see it, you wouldn't believe it. They came off the plane, and these guys had them, the rotors were off. They rebuilt these helicopters in less than 10 minutes. And that was one of the more amazing.
I get nuclear saber rattling to try to scare people. Russia does it all the time. They keep threatening the EU and everybody else with nukes. It's an empty threat, though. Is there the small % chance? Sure, but that's the end of the regime if they do that. So, Trump hasn't gone as far as saying we could just nuke them to smithereens and end this tomorrow. We could. What is that going to do for America, though? That does more damage. There's blowback. You have to think of second, third order effects. If we then nuke a country in a war we started, so we're the aggressor in the eyes of the international community, and then you drop a nuke, you will become the enemy of the world instant in the eyes of everybody. You lose the moral high ground completely. Everyone is going to look at America as like the devil incarnate. The empire has turned evil. People will then, not people, governments around the world are going to start looking for other trading partners. We're going to start retooling all their economic, all their economic trade in general with the United States. They start moving it to everybody else just to reduce the dependency on this empire that's completely lost its mind. Being Israel's ally is not a good thing for America's reputation, is it now? So I might sound a little tin foil, but I have this thought that Iraq was about UFO. All right, you're next level, bro.
Amazing things. These are helicopters, small, unbelievably powerful, but small, very small, so it can get into certain areas. and they got them off the plane, and they rebuilt all three of them in a matter of less than 10 minutes. It's pretty amazing what the genius of these people. Who would think that? You'd think it would take 5 days to build them. And in some companies, it would take 5 days, and they wouldn't do it well. But they served us well. As Commander-in-Chief, I never forget the extraordinary risk taken by the warriors that we send into battle. And the genius, I mean, think of it, having a contingency of 3 planes waiting because we think the sand is so bad that we probably won't be able to take off. And the planes really got bogged. This was not much of a runway. This was a farm, not a runway. It's a farm, but it did the trick. But to have a contingency as opposed to having to wait 2 days, can you imagine right in the middle? This was central. This was right, you would call it central casting if you were doing a movie for location. And probably the toughest area of Iran where we'd be sitting there. So these planes came in, those pilots came in so fast and so quick and got out of there. Everybody got aboard and just got 15-minute intervals. One load out, one load out, one load out. It happened. And we were watching and we said, that's amazing. In many ways, I was almost more impressed by the contingency that we had than the fact that, if we would have had a runway or decent soil, but it was an amazing thing. But we thank God for every single one of them and the talent. The genius is not even talent, it's genius. It's the whole ball game, every one of them. Now, if you look at what we did with Maduro, we went into a military compound, a massive, with thousands and thousands of soldiers, and within a matter of minutes, and he lived behind iron doors. There were steel doors, broke them down so quickly. And within almost minutes, he was in the back of these planes. It was a similar group. Incredible. We have incredibly talented people. And if the time comes, we move heaven and earth to bring them home safely. We're going to bring our people home safely. I want to thank every member of the U.S. Armed Forces involved in these historic operations. They really were historic. It's just not something that's done. And you'd understand it. Not that they don't want to do it, but when you're going into areas, when you look at these helicopters, when you look at the amount of bullets and everything else that they took, when you go into these areas, you don't come out like we came out. God was watching us, I tell you. Well, it was the Easter, we were in an Easter territory, I guess, but God was watching us. Amazing. Because when you look at...
You guys remember what he wrote for Easter? I put that shit up. I put that shit up in the post. Hold on. I gotta find that. He wrote some crazy... Dude, the most praise to Allah. Like he's over here sounding like Mike Tyson and shit. He had to be stressing on Easter while this mission was going. He was going crazy, dude. Praise be Allah. I'm going to fucking melt your whole country. He was going off, dude. Let me see what he wrote. He says, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day all wrapped in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise to be Allah. President Donald J. Trump. He didn't even get to say, thank you for your attention on this matter. Praise to be Allah, bro. I'll eat his heart out. I want his kids to see him suffer.
The machinery, they took damage. It tells you. First thing I said is, these are unbelievable machines, how they flew back and not even much of a problem. But these 2 extraordinary rescues, because it was 2, and as you probably know, we didn't talk about the first one for an hour. Then somebody leaked something, which we'll hopefully find that leaker. We're looking very hard to find that leaker. And talked about there's somebody missing.
The leaker was 2 sources close to Netanyahu. It was 2 Israeli reporters that were the leakers. Yeah. The 2 people who leaked were Israeli reporters close to Netanyahu.
They basically said that we have one and there's somebody missing. Well, they didn't know there was somebody missing until this leaker gave the information. So whoever it was, we think we'll be able to find it out because we're going to go to the media company that released it and we're going to say, national security, give it up or go to jail. And we know who, and you know who we're talking about, because some things you can't do. Because when they did that, all of a sudden, the entire country of Iran knew that there was a pilot that was somewhere on their land that was fighting for his life. And it also made it much more difficult for the pilots and for the people going in to search for him. All of a sudden, they know that there's somebody out there. They see all these planes coming in. It became a much more difficult operation because a leaker leaked that we have one, we've rescued one, But there's another one out there that we're trying to get. So actually, the country, Iran, put out a major notice, you all saw it, offering a very big award for anybody that captures the pilot. So in addition to a hostile, very talented, very good, very evil military, we had millions of people trying to get an award. So when you add that to it, but we have to find that leaker because that's a sick person. Probably didn't realize the extent of how bad it was. I can't imagine that the person did.
That's a sick person, but bombing hospitals, bombing laboratories, bombing bridges with civilians on it, right? Threatening to bomb more civilian infrastructure, that's not a horrible person. This is crazy.
But we're going to find out it's national security, and the person that did the story will go to jail if he doesn't say, and that doesn't last long, and I think everybody would understand it. They put this mission at great risk. They put that man at great risk, and they put the hundreds of people that went in looking for him, because everyone now knows that we're going in. Over the past 37 days, America's armed forces have carried out more than 10,000 combat flights over Iran, unheard of, striking more than 13,000 targets. The F-15 we lost last week was the first manned aircraft downed by the enemy in this entire operation, with thousands and thousands of flights. They got
That's a lie also. That's a confirmed lie, by the way. What?
lucky. It was a lucky hit. You know, eventually you get lucky. But we got lucky too because we got both of them back. But it's a record that is unparalleled in the history of military air operations. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. It's such an honor to be involved with it. We were up late at night, and then we were waiting for those contingent planes to come in, and we say, come on, let's go, get in, because they're waiting out on this farm without a runway, with wet, crummy soil, sand, mostly sand, wet sand, and it eats planes alive, and we're waiting, and we're saying, I hope that one can land and take off. And they came in like magic, boom, 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 one after another. It was like genius. I'm so impressed by that.
What is impressive is the fact that the United States could just willy-nilly fly into a country and operate in this manner. That's super impressive. No matter how you feel about the war, the fact that you could insert so many soldiers, then rescue them. We don't know if there's casualties. They'll never tell you about what's happening with these, special forces insertions. Obviously, that's highly classified shit. But the fact of the matter is, because Iran is not parading around any U.S. soldiers, right? If Iran managed to capture a U.S. soldier alive or has the bodies of U.S. soldiers, they would be parading them on news and using that as a propaganda prop. So the fact that they were trying to establish a runway, send special forces in, take nuclear material, load it up and take it out of a country, and almost succeeded is kind of crazy already. Like, that's insane. Only the United States could ever attempt such a thing. It went south somewhere, of course. A plane got down, then it turned into a rescue mission. Then some other planes got stuck on sand maybe. But you got to give props where they're due. The fact that this was attempted and nearly successful is kind of crazy, isn't it? We're going into a heavily fortified nation that's already at war with us, already on the lookout. It's not like how we did Pakistan when we took Osama bin Laden. It was a complete surprise. The Pakistanis didn't know what we were doing. We just flew in there in the cover of night, just fucking snatched his ass, killed all his bodyguards, brought him back. And it was like mission successful. We got his ass. So we're still able to do that to Iran, no less, which is kind of crazy. Now, there's also reports Israel was kind of going crazy that this was a thing. The reason some of these planes are now starting to be downed, at least the way they are, might not even be because of the IRST system. It might actually be because it is reported, and I think Russia confirmed this, at least Iran says it's true. And I believe Russia did confirm this as well, because Israel was pissed. So Israel has some insider information there that this actually was a completed transaction. Russia transferred to Iran an S-500 anti-air system. An S-500 radar. That's their top of the line shit. It's not the S-300s, the hand-me-downs, not the S-400s that are still very good. They got handed an S-500 system, and that's what's been used apparently recently in the successful downing of so many of these aircraft. Now, if that's true, that's crazy. So how many of them do they have? We don't know. But Russia would definitely love to give them some S-500s to do some live weapons testing to see how effective their radar systems are against obviously top of the line U.S. stealth aircraft and drones. Like, that's amazing information. That's worth its weight in gold, far more than the actual S-500 system itself. To see it in live action in a real combat scenario is worth far more than one or two systems that they may have shipped over. Yeah, so they're getting all the data, all the targeting data, all the bugs are going to get worked out. Same with China. That's why I said normally Iran would already be finished, but they're being fed a lot of targeting data. They're dependent on Chinese satellites. Like, China and Russia actively have a hand in keeping Iran alive. The information they're getting is gold. It is golden.
We were a little concerned. We said, boy, if they don't get in and get up fast, we're sitting in them. And that's called Iran Prime, right, General? That's where the whole bet is. And here we are sitting there waiting for a plane. But they came in so fast and so hard, and these guys knew exactly what to do. Let's go. Come on. Get in. Let's go. Pwah. They came one right after another, not at the same time. They don't want to come at the same time. They had to come right after each other. They didn't have any room. There was barely any room to land. Tiny little patch of very wet earth and sand. So I'm so proud of the people that I have standing up here with me, and many others that worked. I mean, so many. Steve Witkoff's over here. He's doing fantastically. Jared Kushner. But the people that are here, the job they did is amazing. And I think I'm going to introduce the head of the CIA, and he
That's true.
is a man.
Yeah, that's true, Fallon. China had a major shakeup at the top of their military. They fired 2 people. I think they arrested them. Some of the Chinese systems failed horribly in Venezuela, and I believe in Iran as well, easily targeted by us, completely destroyed. It was a huge wake-up call. So they sacked the heads of whatever those departments are that are dealing with that technology in China. Massive shakeup, and they're trying to retool all their, all their weapons, apparently, because they failed so much. But the Russian stuff is solid. Obviously, Russia has direct combat experience, unlike China. Literal live combat experience. As we're speaking, they're in a war, and they're actively testing out their weapons, but, iterating as well, coming out with new weapon systems, anti-drone tech, and all that stuff.
And he's central casting, okay? If we cast a movie, he's going to play the head of the CIA. He's one of the few. John Ratcliffe, he did a phenomenal job that night. He did something that I don't know if you want to talk about it. If you want, you can. I'm not sure you're supposed to. I'm not going to talk about it. But the CIA was very responsible for finding this little speck. It's like they used an expression on one of the shows. A general was talking about, it's like finding a needle in a haystack, finding this pilot.
There does seem to be, it depends on America's appetite. Trump already mentioned that the American people don't want total war. So he's at least keeping his, his ear down to the polls. It seems like he's paying attention to them. And there seems to be a limit he doesn't even want to cross. We don't know. Could this escalate into a new Cold War or, return of proxy conflicts? We're already seeing teams or sides being created. There is actively going talks between China, Pakistan, Iran, and a couple of other nations, Iraq, to move away from America completely, use Chinese yuan in trading. But also some of these countries had military hardware, like Pakistan, from the United States too. Some basic things that they're going to try to move directly away and be dependent on, say, China, and to a smaller extent, maybe Russia. We seem to be coalescing into teams. Now, it remains to be seen what the EU will do. EU is typically very slow to get involved. But should the EU come to America's side, obviously, you're going to have 2 big blocks of Russia and China and Iran. You could make that say it's them 3 and then supporting actors. And then you have the United States, the Gulf allies, and potentially a few of the bigger European countries, not the whole union, but say maybe Britain and whoever else, who knows? It just depends. How long is this going to go? Because each country has a breaking point. Each country has a certain level of dependency on Middle Eastern energy supply, whether it's from oil or gas. There is a breaking point where some countries then have to get involved to hurry up and end the pain and the suffering, or else there's going to be massive civil unrest in their countries. So everybody does have a breaking point. Now, we're trying to thread the needle, and we understand this. Why do you think we allow Iran to sell their oil on the international market? We could be bombing every single tanker that's Iranian designated crossing the strait. But we're playing 5D chess where we need the oil prices to stay somewhat leveled off so that we can continue war without completely destroying some of our East Asian partners, or our Asian partners in general, if you consider Southeast Asia as well. But some of these countries don't have many reserves past 2 weeks to 4 weeks max. Japan is in the best position reserve-wise. They have something like 200 days of reserves or something crazy like that, but nobody else is in that position. So there's already fuel rations going on in some of these countries. They're going to start bringing in the fuel lockdowns potentially in some of these countries. Odd even driving, crazy shit like that. Stay at home, don't go to work. And on it goes. Now, we're just talking energy here. We haven't talked about the gallium that China's taking out the market, the fertilizer, the urea from the Middle East, the helium for the semiconductors, all the chips. There's a massive chip shortage that's coming. The urea and all that shit that we need to process to make fertilizer, that's gone. It's planting season. It's planting season now. So we have some effects that are delayed. We're going to see the shit show probably sometime around September. August, September, October is probably when the peak of the pain of this war actually sets in. By then, all the tankers still out at sea delivering oil will be completely emptied. Oil prices had already, WTI was $114 a barrel last I looked. 114. Let me check that again. So we haven't even seen the real inflation start ticking up yet. 115 and growing, almost 116 today. It's up 2% today alone. Oil is ticking up. The market knows. It's about to pass the high previously when it was at 119.559. We have over $4 a gallon gas nationwide average. Interest rates are going to pass probably 7.5%, 8% on mortgages. You think it's bad now. We haven't felt the bite just yet. Just yet. This is stuff that happens 3 to 6 months after this has already started. This could end today and the shortages would still be a problem. And they have bombed in the weekend alone, have increased the amount of bombing. There's like 15 different facilities that got hit all over the Gulf Coast, all over Iran. They started bombing civilian infrastructure, also petrochemical plants. They bombed South Pars again on Iran side. Iran retaliated. They hit a bunch of gas fields. They hit a bunch of gas terminals, oil infrastructure, and they've even hit some AI company data centers. There's a lot of bombings that hasn't even been reported on just because of the amount of crazy shit that's going on. It got worse. There are even more infrastructure that are damaged now. So you thought it was bad a week ago. You were hearing like all these bombings on the oil and gas infrastructure. It's worse now. We're just getting started.
And the CIA was unbelievable.
Yeah. And if we do reach where it seems highly likely, I don't know, what is the price of dated Brent? Dated Brent was at $141 last week. Dated Brent. Dated Brent is what the physical cost of crude is. I don't have any new headlines here. It still says 140. Is there any way that I could figure? If anybody has the dated Brent price, let me know. Dated Brent price. Now. Dated Brent. Still not updated. I don't see any articles talking about dated Brent price. Still surged to 141. So, okay. That means that the futures market, the prices that we're watching, WTI, the paper barrels, will move up to match the physical price. So we're just $8 and some change away from $150 barrel gas. Barrel oil, excuse me. That's insane, guys. At 150, Larry Fink of BlackRock already said that we're going to enter in a global recession. At 200, we're probably staring down a depression scenario. Now, how long will America keep the war going if that were to happen? Will we destroy our own economy in order to see this to the end? I don't know. Who the fuck knows with this administration and obviously the Israeli influence on it.
And you may, if you can, you'll talk, it might be classified, in which case I'd have to put him in jail if he talks about it. And I don't want to put him in jail. He does.
I already saw videos of people in Europe and other countries that are driving those old diesel cars. If you have an older diesel, it runs on cooking oil. You know that, right? Older diesels before the combustion chamber, right? Is that what it was? The combustion chamber change. So before the combustion change in diesel, you can run your old piece of shit diesel car on crappy ass, oils, biofuels. And it smells like French fries. So that's nice. You'll just make people hungry on the road, but it only has a 10% efficiency loss. So if your car gets 30 miles, 33 miles to the gallon, you're only really going to lose 3 miles or so. You're going to get 30 miles to the gallon, some shit like that. Only on older diesels. Do not put this shit on a new one.
Doesn't deserve that. So, John, do you want to say a few words? Thank you.
But people have started mixing that in their cars.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a privilege to be here with you today to share what we can about this exceptional mission and to recognize the ingenuity and bravery of those who executed it, as well as the leadership and resolve of the president who ordered it.
Well, John, thank you for the collaboration of the CIA as well as incredible and ongoing partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Americans, and especially the brave warriors in our armed forces, over this Easter weekend, the United States military has once again proved why we possess the greatest fighting force the world.
Glazing, we'll watch more of that later. Okay, dude. We heard enough. That's good enough for an episode with what's going on with Trump. Moving on. Heard enough. Moving on from Daddy Trump. Let's get into subversion. Should we? Or no? Oh, this was a good one. MAGA amnesty, boys. Hey, are you tired of winning yet? Is a MAGA amnesty incoming? We got an AIPAC funded bill by GOP rep Mike Lawler is pushing for mass amnesty plan for illegal immigrants through his bill called the Dignity Act. Wow. Hey, isn't that cool?
For decades, the presidents have agreed the U.S. must crack down on illegal immigration. You saw Democrat and Republican, right? Now lawmakers are trying to turn that shared goal into policy. At least one is. And hopefully Democrats will flash back and understand they used to agree with this. It's a bipartisan bill known as the Dignity Act. It promises tougher enforcement and worker protections while offering certain undocumented immigrants legal status without citizens if they pass background checks, pay taxes.
Hey, beautiful. Isn't it beautiful? Mass deportations.
And stay employed. Supporters are calling it reform, while critics are calling it amnesty. Let's ask the Republican New York Congressman Michael Lawler, who co-sponsored the bill, and Democratic immigration attorney Michael Wilds, who is the immigration attorney of Melania Trump. Welcome to both of you guys. Great to see you. Tell me about the Dignity Act. Expand on it, Congressman Lawler. And is there other Democratic support for this?
Yeah, Brian, this has broad bipartisan support.
Damn, broad bipartisan support.
A damp 911 donated $5.
What's going on, Adam?
Did you hear the EU is preventing men 1845 from leaving the country mandatory military? They want to go from 180K to 450K military force. Something bigger is expected, plus they are in an energy lockdown.
Yes, it's not just them, too. The UK is preparing. France is preparing. Yeah. All the European countries are starting to arm up and reinstitute. Croatia already reinstituted mandatory at 18. Yep, something's happening. Something's happening, boys.
In fact, this Congress, we have added significantly more co-sponsors than last because I think folks do recognize that we
Something big's going to happen.
Immigration has not been reformed since 1986, the year I was born. And the fact is, our immigration system is fundamentally broken. President Trump was right to focus on securing the border, and he has effectively done that. We've had 9 straight months of net zero illegal border crossings. He was right to focus on the deportation of criminal aliens. The next step is to actually fix the broken system. This bill is common sense. It says if you've been here more than 5 years, so not the people that came under Joe Biden's disastrous administration, but the people who have been in this country more than 5 years, 10, 15, 20 years, whose children and grandchildren may in fact be American citizens, they would qualify if they have not committed a crime. They pay back taxes, they pay a fine, they have a job, and they do not collect government benefits. They would qualify for a legal status, not citizenship. They would be precluded from citizenship. But this would get people out of the shadows and start to fix the broken system so that we can address some of the major
Sounds like
challenges.
a Democrat,
The fact is, we have over 25 million people in this country.
That's crazy that Republicans are saying that. We got 25 million people in the country. We went from deport them all to let's grant them amnesty. Didn't I tell you guys? This is the haves versus have-nots, okay? This is the uniparty. You are never getting rid of the permanent underclass that they've imported because they make them money. They work for less. They ask for nothing. They're grateful for nothing, for having little. This is like Rome all over again. You're being replaced. You are being replaced. They're really doing it. They're bringing in a new voter class that's dependent on them. Why do you think there's so much welfare fraud? These people will never vote against the government. They depend on the government for money. The government brought them in. The government opened the borders. The government allows them to create all these scams. All this fraud. The government won't arrest them. It's just creating a new class that permanently votes for you, so you're permanently in power. They don't want Americans to have any power in voting. Your vote hasn't counted in a long time. And the little it did count, they're making sure that you're overwhelmed. Your vote is getting canceled out. So that they can make sure that the shills are always in power. Dude, this is a hostile takeover of America, right under American noses. Nobody's out protesting this shit. Nobody's saying anything about it. Literally destroying your community, importing millions of people. They can't speak your language. They don't share your culture. They don't share and care about any of your customs, the history of your land. They don't pay homage to the founding fathers, to what this country means. They don't even say they don't even recite the pledge in school anymore. That's insane. I pledge allegiance. Nothing. I used to repeat that shit all the time in class. It was great. We started our class pledging allegiance to the flag. Recognize where the fuck you are. Every morning, we had to recognize who we were and where we were and who we pledge allegiance to. Then they took that out of schools. Now they're taught to hate America and everything it stands for, this entire system. Everything, the greatness that it built should all be torn down for the new world order, which is eating your fucking bug sandwiches, having your goy bot deliver your goy pizza, your goy slop straight to your goy box while you plug in the matrix and earn your goy coins on your fucking digital lifestyle you'll be forced to live. Fucking hell, bro.
Undocumented. You're not rounding them all up and kicking them out. The criminals need to go, and the president has been right to focus on that. And the last thing I'd say, Brian, the president exposed many of the Democrats during the State of the Union when they refused to stand for protecting American citizens over illegal immigrants. I want to end sanctuary city policies. Actually having a comprehensive approach here is the best way to do that and force the Democrats' hand, end the sanctuary cities, deport the criminals, secure the border, and fix our broken system.
Michael, could you get behind this? You spend your life and your family, your dad spent a life in the immigration area. Can you get behind the Dignity Act?
My late father was John Lennon's lawyer, and I had the privilege of representing Mrs. Trump. We're blessed with wonderful people that have come through America's golden doors. It's a step in the right direction. It may not be what Democrats necessarily want, but the conversation of onboarding America's talent is good business. It's very valuable for us not to only stop bad people from coming through the border.
Right.
I'm a former federal prosecutor myself, but to also onboard foreign students who are paying tuition, and then we compete against them when they go to another country. But to onboard people into the workforce, to fix the broken immigration system. It was President Reagan, a former Democrat, who later in life as a Republican gave 3 million green cards to people in 1986 that could prove they were here unlawfully in 82. We don't have enough beds, handcuffs, and cars to move 25+ million people out.
This is insane.
The question is,
now they tell you we can't do it at all. Hey, what was the whole campaign promise about? Now we just can't. Hey, dude, 25 million? That's impossible. Oh, really? Oh, really? So what did we vote for again? Uh-huh.
are we going to take that golden tool in our toolbox, that very DNA of America, that Lady Liberty portends, that very special thing that our founding documents and parents envisioned?
Is he one? It's the voice. It's give me some. Is it?
And that is a country made up of people with accents, whether they pray on a Friday, a Saturday, or a Sunday, but will help build America's future together. We're not going to deport them. We need to onboard them properly.
I want you to both weigh in real quick. And Trump feels that way. There's meat packers, there's people in the service industry, farmers who have voted for Trump who said, you can't throw out my workforce. Like it or not, they're the backbone of it. And the president's talking about a long-term work visa, Mike Lawler. But some Republicans cringe at that thought.
Hold on. I'm getting some spider tingles. Interesting. Moldova caucus. The hell? Interesting. During his 2022 campaign, Lawler stated that traveling to Israel would be one of my first endeavors after taking office. Lawler co-sponsored a bill to ban social media platform TikTok, alleging it had pro-Palestinian bias. Lives with his wife Doina, born in Moldova. Moldova? What? What, dude? Doina. Is there any information on his family like that? Bro, there's something about this look. It's giving me some spider tingles here.
At Playboy Scotty donated $5. The best motivational advice that I have ever heard you say, Bo, is essentially the world's not getting easier, so get good or eat a shotgun, Shelly.
Thanks. Yeah, yo.
Process, but he told me on radio, he's like, I'm thinking about doing something for those industries, for the illegals here who came here illegally, but maybe don't give them citizenship, but give them long-term visas. Could that be something you get behind, Mike Lawler?
Of course, and again, this is what the Dignity Act does. It doesn't give them a pathway to citizenship. It gives them legal status so that they can actually continue working.
Mike Wiles, Congressman Mike Lawler, thanks so much. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks, because I think the
I guess I voted for this. Make America great again. Damn, dude. Ah, beautiful. Oh, I can't play that because the music. Beautiful, though. Look at all these fell for it award memes. Oh, my Lord. These are great. Okay. The absolute state of society. It gets worse. Here's the absolute state of society. Where was this post, dude? We got this dude wrote, Gypsy woman and Indian man in turban arguing over who is more British on GB News. The absolute state of Britain right
Am I a foreigner? Am I a foreigner?
Are you a foreigner?
Am I a foreigner?
You answer the question.
You said...
Not a single Brit in this entire segment. Not one. Not even one.
You said that we are spending...
We got Gypsy woman, Indian man, African woman. Britain. UK bros. What is going on with your country? This is the replacement in Britain is crazy.
At Armanilugo 3,531 donated $2. LOL Smith & Wesson has a product just for you, legend.
Somebody should have clipped that, dude. That was great. You know, on Kick, if you guys watch on Kick, there's no ads and you can clip shit. I need somebody who's got the clipper mind to just clip absolute heat when I go on those rants. If you haven't, YouTubers, please get on Kick, dude. Link them over there, boys.
Spending billions of pounds on foreigners on universal credit.
Yeah.
I have been here.
Foreign nationals.
I have lived here.
I have lived here. Shut up.
For 13 and a half years.
Right.
I'm not a British citizen because applying for a British citizenship costs £2,000.
Well, perhaps you should invest in that, though.
And I did not have £2,000 lying around.
Have you got it now? You should do it.
I do not have a British citizenship. Tell me, if I fall sick tomorrow and I cannot work, should I be allowed to claim benefits?
No.
You think I should not be allowed to claim benefits?
No.
At what point do you believe that a person like me has sufficiently worked for long enough?
London has fallen. Thanks, brother. Also, I need to fix those kicks. Okay. Another bug. Thank you. Thank you for the 5, bro.
Paid into the tax system for long enough to deserve to not go homeless, to not be able to pay for my rent or for my food.
That's a very simple answer to that question. That is, as soon as you want to become a citizen. So pay your $2,000 to become a citizen.
Wait a minute.
Do you have an affinity with Britain?
You know that I do.
Well, if you do, then I have to become a citizen.
Listen, you can't have. Listen, this is what I see. Yeah, you want the benefits of being a citizen of this country, and you qualify to do that. Then pay for it. That's what happens. In other countries, you don't get anything. If you're a foreign national suffering in those countries, go to the US.
And is that?
Hang on, let me finish. Sorry. You go to the US, you suffer. You're a foreign national. They say, "Well, you should have insurance. We're not paying for you." There's no way they'll do that. So I don't think that's hostile or horrible. You've come to this country. You love this country. You live in this country. You've lived for many, many years. It's $2,000. How much does your mobile phone cost you every month?
And if you love this country, as both of you say you do,
I do, yes.
Then why do you criticize the things that make this country great?
It's not giving away free money to.
You are not giving me any free money. I've been paying taxes.
Okay.
I've been paying taxes for over a decade.
Do you think that someone
entitlement of women? First of all, if you're in a country and you don't have citizenship, you can fuck off. You don't deserve any rights. It is already a privilege for you to live in the UK. It's a privilege for you to live in the United States. You're not entitled to entitlements just because you live here. You could live in a country and be a resident. We need to do away with this whole everybody getting citizenship in the countries in the West. Sorry, it's a blood in, blood out system. Like if you're not a native, you're not going to be a citizenship here. You're not getting citizenship. You're not a citizen. It is what it is. I can't go to China, my kid born there, or whatever the fuck, and then my kid is considered Chinese. There'll always be something different. You can have permanent residence in a country, and we need to delineate this idea that you live here long enough, you're now a citizen. No, you're a resident, and you have all the benefits of living here. You just can't vote. You still have to pay taxes for living here, and you don't get any of the benefits because you're a resident. And if you do have benefits, they have to be reduced heavily based on what you've put in. That's it. That's how you fix a lot of these freeloaders that think, oh, I've paid a few years of taxes. I now am allowed to go spend all the entitlement that the natives have spent their entire lives paying into. No thanks. Fuck off. No.
Who's been here for 5 years has paid in enough tax to create to claim the same amount of universal credit as you have, who's been here for 20 years. Did you say you were
13 and a half? That is a policy decision. That is a different policy discussion. No, Aman, we need to be specific. We need to focus on what you said. You said that all of these people you mentioned are foreigners.
£1 billion a month.
Are foreigners. You include in that calculation people who have lived here.
Kick them out. Kick them all out. These people don't deserve to be here. Why the fuck is GB News, an African woman, a gypsy, and an Indian man talking about foreigners in the UK? The absolute state of that country, it blows my fucking mind. I don't know what you guys are doing in Britain. You're being overrun. You better start taking up in the streets and protesting. This is out of fucking control, bro. If you would have showed a British person, somebody from the UK just 100 years ago, this is the future of your country, a gypsy, an Indian, and an African, arguing about who gets to stay and collect benefits in your country. That's fucking insane.
Here for many, many decades. In that calculation, when you mention universal credit,
a foreign national?
You will be.
Are you not a foreign national?
I am a foreign national.
There you go.
But I'm asking you, after how long?
Is she fucking cross-eyed?
After how long?
As soon as you become a British citizen. This is not difficult.
Can I just answer that? Once you've paid the £2,000 that you said, then you can.
So if I was an extremely rich person who comes here,
you don't need to be extremely rich.
Let me finish. If I was a very rich person and I came here and within 5 years I bought a British citizenship,
how do you buy a British citizenship?
You can't just buy it. And actually,
you can't. After 5 years, if I was a rich banker and after 5 years I got a British citizenship, are you telling me that this banker who lived here for 5 years is more devoted to this country than me, who have lived here for 13 and a half years, just because I work for charities.
Sorry, can I just... Sorry, stop.
Wow, dude. That's insane. Holy shit, the memes. Wow. Should we do this? No, I have a crazy one here. Let's read an article. It's been a while since we've read an article. Okay, this is what we were supposed to cover on the last stream. This article is from this website. Let's go to the about just so you can see. This is a black-led and black-owned startup that combines art and fashion with lifestyle commentary to create a strong social justice brand that is relevant to folks from all walks of life. Are you ready?
Bruh.
I hope you're ready. This is what Quasi-Consent was titled. I hope you're ready. Says, why a rise in sexual assaults by migrants is a price worth paying to end racism. Here we go. Quasi-consensual encounters, code word for rape, between refugee and white Western women may help with assimilation. Increasingly, they result in a shared apartment and a new surname. Oh, buddy. It's unfortunate but true. Language gaps and cultural misunderstandings often mean that the first romantic encounter between a Western woman and a refugee can be perceived as a quasi-consensual in nature. Usually, it starts with a halting conversation or an awkward catcall at a park, a refugee language class, or a volunteer dinner. But increasingly, these encounters result in a shared apartment, a mixed race child, a new surname, and a happy future. Happy future. When we saw the statistics just on the last video that white women are stubbornly not getting with migrants, and they're trying to socially engineer that out of them. A quiet revolution is taking shape across Europe and North America, and it's being led by white Western women. They're not performing acts of charity, nor engaging in fetishism or exoticism. Pioneering women are placing the burden upon themselves to become the most powerful force, undermining the very architecture of racial exclusion. In countries where a supposed refugee rape crisis is cast as a threat, their beautiful interracial unions permanently puncture the entire narrative of the xenophobic right. The transformation is intimate, but implications are structural. The collapse of ugly abstractions. Racism relies on distance. Stereotypes thrive in the absence of proximity. The moment a Western woman forms an intimate relationship with a refugee, she begins to see it differently. Many describe it not as a shift in ideology, but in emotional vocabulary. The fear dissolves, replaced by the particularity of experiences. That particularity is contagious. Quasi. Remember, the word was, what was it? Quasi-consensual encounters. Once I introduced Kareem to my parents, he wasn't a Syrian refugee anymore, says Julia, a 32-year-old nurse in Stuttgart. He was just someone who slapped my butt while I was out shopping groceries. Bruh. Interesting. He simply didn't know how else to get my attention at the time. And now he's their son-in-law. God. The family's politics shifted more in 6 months of dinners than in decades of op-eds. Oh my God, dude. Western women function as gatekeepers to cultural norms. Isn't that the truth? Do you see why they attack women first? And this is especially true amongst women like Julia who work in healthcare, education, and civic nonprofits. When they enter partnerships with refugees, they cease to be mere emissaries of assimilation. They become co-constructors of a new cultural hybrid. Holy fuck. These women often introduce their parents to informal but essential codes, how to navigate bureaucracy, what behaviors signal trustworthiness, how to perform integration in a society obsessed with appearances. At the same time, they absorb the refugees' worldview, witnessing firsthand how Western institutions often fail the very people they claim to welcome. Bruh. Holy fuck, bro. This one is strong on the social engineering. It says, lasting love as a counter narrative against the rape crisis, conspiracy theory. Bruh. It's a conspiracy theory now. All the grooming gangs, conspiracy theory. The Sweden rape crisis, 1 in 4 Swedish women report being raped. Doesn't exist. None of this shit. The rape epidemic in all these Western countries, the incredible increase in sexual assaults of women, is just a conspiracy theory. Boy, oh boy, do they love to destroy what our forefathers created, huh? That was that pure rage bait. For years, right-wing media has cultivated an image of the refugees as hypersexual, violent, and dangerous to white women. But the increasing visibility of interracial couples disrupts this narrative from the inside. Each couple is a rebuke to the xenophobic imagery. 1,000 quiet stories like Sarah married Ali accumulate into something more than an anecdote. They become potent political critique. What's more, this isn't performative inclusion, it's embodied integration. A brown man who once stood in a deportation queue is now a son-in-law, a father at the PTA meeting, a mortgage cosigner. His existence is suddenly legible and fully included. Interracial coupling of all possible configurations force society to reconcile with a reality that does not conform to fear-mongering templates. In a society where whiteness is still the unmarked norm, whiteness is a problem. They come to white countries and they say whiteness is a problem. That's like going to China and saying Chinese-ness is a problem. Okay. These relationships redistribute the optics of who belongs. There's another layer, quieter but no less disruptive, where Western women form relationships with refugee men. They break with the implicit racial and political allegiances of their birth. White men are often animated by nationalist or racialist worldviews and can experience these unions as betrayal. And they are right to. What? Uh-oh. These women are not just falling in love. They are puncturing the fragile white male consensus that long underwritten white identity politics. Holy fuck. Each white woman's womb decorated with a brown or black baby make racial purism increasingly not just odious, but logistically impossible. Superb. Have you had enough yet, citizen? You, white man, paying taxes in your white countries, which has open borders by a government that hates you, working your ass off, are being told that white women's wombs decorated with brown or black babies make your racial purism logistically impossible. Quasi-encounters. Gordon Allport's mid-century contact theory proposed that sustained cooperative blah, blah, blah. In other words, where the state fails, the bedroom succeeds. When white supremacy wants white women to zig, they zag. None of this romanticizes the challenges. Okay, but they truly put into action something that no institute can mandate, the total collapse of the line between us and them. In the end, racism depends on abstraction, fear, and distance. Yeah, the rape epidemic is conspiracy theory. Love destroys all three. Quasi-love. Quasi-love, bro. Is there comments on here? Next time a rape instance happens, we'll lock you in a room with the culprit and see if you support it then. Quasi-consensual with a 12-year-old. Of course. No way this is a serious piss. No way. You will burn in hell, you scum. Holy shit. You're not wrong. This is the most backwards, retarded crap I've ever seen. You're not wrong. Quasi-consensual must be the new lefty word for rape and abuse. I'm not a fan of violence and don't call for it, but if the authors of this article was quasi-consensual encounter to death tomorrow, I wouldn't shed a tear. Holy fuck, dude. That's insane. Yeah, just letting you know the state of affairs. These are your so-called quasi-consensual refugees, mostly men, as you could see from the picture, all in their either late teens or 20s or even 30s. These are combatants. Oh my God, the blowback of this is going to be absolutely incredible. And it's going to have to start with the white people who allowed this to happen. I can't wait to see the destruction. I don't want to see it, but it's going to be epic in the worst nightmarish way imaginable. These young boys that are being raised in this world today, seeing this kind of shit, you're going to wish you didn't live in Europe.
At Filthy Angry Irish Peasant donated $2. I wonder which group funds this trash?
You know exactly who's funding this shit. Who opened up the borders. Who's paying all those human rights. Let's be fucking honest already. Yeah, don't worry. Interesting days ahead, boys.
Russell Adler donated $5. Bo, what if shit gets significantly worse in the USA by the time the next administration comes around? Or would you consider moving back to Romania for good? Also, will you be visiting the home country again in the foreseeable future?
Of course I'll visit. I have family there. If it ever gets worse, America is the safest place to be. Out in the mountains or somewhere in the countryside, a lot of guns, shoot anything that moves on your fucking property. Fed or not, doesn't matter. You cannot pass, bro. Signs everywhere that says do not enter. You're about to have a standoff with any single living human being that goes across that sign that says shoot first, do not enter. Just saying. That's what all, if it ever gets that bad, I'm not trusting nobody. They had a bunch of standoffs in Texas like that too. They were trying to, somebody had a standoff in Texas. The feds were trying to do something with that guy's property or his land. Yeah, they don't have a right to just come on your property like that. There are rules in place. As an American, you have rights that nobody else in the world has. I'm just being completely honest. Bundy Ranch, that's what it was called? Yeah, look up Bundy Ranch and what was going on there. That's how I'll be a fucking psychopath, dude. If the world gets that crazy, in order to protect me and my family, I'm buying 50 cal Barrett rifles. I'm posting up. I'm fucking going to put a bunch of nests everywhere all over my property. It's fucking all. I got proximity shit going everywhere, all tied to cameras all over on every on every tree stump. Everywhere. I'm going to have cameras, motion sensor detectors, all that stuff. I'm just going to be pulling up my little command center in my room and just seeing, oh, dude, my shit just went off. There's somebody walking on my property. Time to go up on my perch, dude. You shouldn't have crossed that fucking fence, boy. I could afford a 50 cal Barrett. Just saying. I got the money for one. What are they, 14 G's? That's nothing. If it ever got to that, I'm buying. I'm going to invest in a Barrett. Just, you think I'm playing. Your ass will get cut in half getting hit by one of those. Again, we're talking worst case scenario. That's got to be some insane shit going on. China Observer. I don't know what to do next. Something kind of like, kind of not really. Ah, here we go. This was interesting. I remember this guy way back in the day. This guy was, what's his name? Maybe it's on his TikTok. I can't remember what his name was, but they were doing all those, what the fuck were they? The pickup artist stuff. That was like my first exposure. Owen Cook was his name. That was my first exposure to that shit. I was doing that shit when I was going out in the clubs and it was working. I was like, holy fuck, dude. I stumbled upon a gold mine. Later on, and we'll see on the next one.
Common trope of the manosphere is that women will fuck guys until they're around 30, and then they'll jump onto a beta male, but at the same time, that beta male might judge them because they have a high body count. In my experience, the following is true. First of all, a girl can simply lie about her body count, including to herself, so there's actually no consequence whatsoever. This idea that you have a psychic ability to understand her body count is a little bit silly. You're never going to know her body count, because she has probably buried that in the back of her mind, and she does not even know her body count, nor tell you anything about it. Number two is the fact that a girl is going to want to get married by 30. Actually, society's changed. Most girls I know at this point are looking for that closer to 40. And like a crack addict, will keep going back to the sweet honeypot of a fuckboy over and over till about 43 or 44. So literally it's around 44 or 45 that she's scrambling for a husband. It's no longer 30, which means that the beta male not only doesn't get, like back in the day, the beta male, yeah, he had her in her 20s and 30s in those younger years. So, he'd take care of her from 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, all those years. But he had a memory of what it was like to be with her when she was younger. So it was worth it to him. Now he's going to have his girl for about 6 months before she hits menopause. And even that will probably be very upsetting for the girl, because even during that time, she could have been getting tagged by that fuckboy. But, she gave it to the new beta male. That being said, I think another thing that's true is that a lot of women simply don't even want a guy at all. And I don't think that most women even want children anymore. Like, you could be like, you're not going to get to be a mom. They don't care. You could say that's genetic suicide. Everyone before you in your bloodline has reproduced. They don't care. They go, my bloodline. Like, they don't give a shit. They don't, like, they view men talking about their bloodline as like some clown shit, and it's blocking them from having fun. And so basically every single bit of leverage that a beta male has is gone. They are pretty much at a point where, like, look, to me as a man, I consider my children the extension of me that continues after I die. Men talk about things like bloodline and legacy. Women talk about things like having fun, feeling happy.
That is so true. Women live in the moment. Men plan for the future. Women just move into shit men build. This is a brutal truth. The whole body count thing that the red pillars always try to push on everybody, like you need to find out her body count. You will never know a woman's real body. You will never know. Because what he said was true. Women don't even know their body counts. Women actively say, I only sucked him off. That doesn't count. Or he came in 5 minutes. That doesn't count. That's not a real body. I can't add that. They don't even have real numbers for the real. Like, the way they count is like how our government counts unemployment. There's a bunch of asterisks. You need to hit a bunch of conditions to be counted as unemployed. It's not that you don't have a job. It's that you have to not have a job and also be looking for a job in like the last 3 months. Bro, you're unemployed. You're unemployed. You sucked a dude off. You sucked him off. That's your body count. You got your guts rearranged. They got rearranged, sis. You don't get to say this one counts, this one doesn't, because this one lasted an hour, this one didn't. So all these dudes that are literally asking for body counts up front, you're going to find out a fake number, and then you're going to feel good about yourself. And then 5-10 years later, it's going to slip out of her mouth when she's drunk or out with her friends or whatever, that she smashed half the football team. And then she's going to show you a video of her sucking her ex off like we had on that one post after she gets mad, and then you guys get in an argument. Stop asking these women for body counts. Are you so fucking stupid? Do you just love to get lied to? You're literally putting a woman on the spot to lie to you. If she even likes you or has even respect for you, she's gonna fucking lie. The first thing coming out of her mouth is a lie. If we say women trickle truth and never tell the truth, you the bozo the clown here, is asking, so how many men have you slept with? Like, what's your body count? As if you're some like supreme genius. You're real smart, bro. You just weave that one in there so naturally in the conversation. I'm not going to judge. You already failed. She's going to lie to you. Her body count's way higher than you'll ever be comfortable with. That's not how you find out her body count. That's insane. Beta bozos, dude. It's fucking horrendous what men do to themselves and the lies that they believe. You're not supposed to trust anything they say and just observe all their actions. Still, the idiots will be like, how many body counts do you have? Okay, dude. All right. I don't know what it's going to take for men to learn. This system is completely fucked.
And feeling fulfilled, and that's about the extent of it, right? So they're not afraid that they're not going to have, or the majority of them are not afraid they're not going to have a bloodline. They're not afraid they're not going to have a legacy. They're not afraid that their genetics are going to continue. As long as some fucking little beta male cuck boy is also not getting to put his genes into her, because then her genes are being replicated with the beta. So basically at this point, most of the average guys, to get just a basic level wife, like what would have been a wife back in the 50s, is like having a Rolex watch. It's like having a fucking Lamborghini. Like, if you see a dude who like actually has some kids, actually has a wife, that's literally, and a family, that's is no longer the norm. That is literally a luxury, like a fucking Lamborghini. As the population falls off a cliff and the beta male has no leverage.
That I'm telling you, marriage is going to be a luxury. And the few that have happy marriages, it's going to be like seeing a unicorn. He's not joking. I've had the same instinct on what society's going to look like in the next 25 years or so. It's going to be absolute hell. These women are all going to end up doing this artificial insemination shit. They're going to even be disgusted with any men around them, and they're just going to pick, based on photos, whatever the, 6'6" Nordic Scandinavian guy with this tested level IQ, they're going to go to sperm banks and get sperm injected into them, artificially inseminated. And that's how they're going to have their children. There will be no more kids for the average guy. You're going to get priced out of having children if you haven't been already. This is going to be crazy. They don't give a shit, dude. They're getting more and more ruthless. Society is actually making it so that that's becoming the norm. They get incentivized to do this stuff. There's no incentive to be with a normal guy anymore. You don't need him. And normal guys are going to be so sex starved that they're going to turn into these bots, you know, the future sex bots with AI powered voice and all this other shit. And maybe some, you know, advanced robotics where she can actually move and do something and seem halfway real. The future is fucking grim. They don't care. It's true about bloodlines or any of that shit. Most women today are infected by the liberal mindset, and they can't stand, they hate men. They can't stand men. They blame men for everything. They refuse to look in the mirror. And you know why that exists? Simps. Even if they don't hate men, they can have fun. The wall will never hit them. They get to have fun, and some beta will be so sex starved in this future, because they're already sex starved, that they will happily rescue a 44-year-old post-menopause hag completely, without any question, no qualms about it whatsoever, in order to get a piece of some cobweb honey, some cobweb sugar walls, dry ass walls, Sahara Desert ass walls, barren ass walls will be better than them fucking their bot. So they will be bailed out. This is the brutal red pill truth. Women never pay. Women will never pay. They will never deal with the consequences of their actions because beta males will bail them out. Stop thinking that the wall is going to be this ultimate thing that every single woman has to deal with. There is women right now that are in relationships, fucked hundreds of dudes, but their man, this simp, thinks they only smashed 2 guys, 3 guys, no experience, whatever. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's giving up the most mediocre vanilla sex imaginable to that guy who's got to pay up front for every fucking thing. Meanwhile, she was giving the absolute devil sugar walls, the absolute level 9 crazy Glock 9000s, that kind of grippy that would take a motherfucker's soul. You don't get that. You get that blown out shit. You get that 10 miles of dick left, it's barely squeaking, the oil's gone, it's dry as shit. That's what you're getting, and you're paying for it. It's brutal. It's brutal, bro. You have to be on you have to make stupid amounts of money. You have to be able to afford a bitch. You have to be able to have basically some form of status, something, in order to even get what your grandpappy got. It's true. You're either going to get that grippy by paying for it big time in the next 25 years, or you find yourself smashing your robot girlfriend. You're smashing a bunch of circuitry. Or you'll be relegated to, maybe we declined or maybe veered off of this path because the Democrats lost so much of the culture. You were about to be relegated to fucking dudes in dresses. Like, you would have to smash a tranny. Like, that's true. You're going to have to smash your bro, your homie. Your homie, he can't take it. He can't live as a man anymore, so he copes and turns himself into a trans woman, and that's your piece, bro. They wanted you to smash your homie. This is what average men will be relegated to. Robots, their homies. So it's the reality of the future is going to be grim, bro. Don't worry, Goy bots are on patrol 24/7. They will bring your Goy pizza into your Goy room, your Goy box, your Goy pods, while you're playing your Goy digital life, earning your Goy coins online so that you could afford your next Goy slop. Oh, shit. Golly. That about does it for today, boys. Hop on the Legion of Men shop. If you haven't, go get your we got a Top Goy shirt. Let me post that shit. Missing credentials to post that. Interesting. I'm not steering you into that lane at all. Hell no. Where's this goy bot? Here you go. Delivering your slop with a smile on his face. You see this? Look at it. It's beautiful. You see, he's got a little sad look, but he's happy boy. Here you go, sir. Your pizza you ordered. Fucking A. The pizza you ordered is here. My lord. Let me put this shit up. That's AI slop, brah.
At Anthonyman 8008 donated $2. AI humanoid bots equals life unto th image of the beast.
Thanks, brother. Let me see if this worked.
At Anthonyman 8008 donated $2. AI
Perfect.
humanoid bots equals life unto th image of the beast.
Nice. Cool. I removed that little pop-in sound. Excellent. Let me add just 0.2, see what this sounds like.
At Anthonyman 8008 donated $2. AI.
Okay, what about this one?
Russell Adler donated $5. Bo, what if shit gets like significantly worse?
Okay.
At Anthonyman 8008 donated $2.
All right. Yes. What else do we got? Oh, yeah, she took a whole legion of men. We finally got this finished, boys. Here it is. You see? It's complete, finally. We got the mugs done. We got a whole bunch, we got a legion behind her. You got your nice beta simp. She took a whole legion of men and you married her. Ouch. Marketing team going crazy. Yeah, appreciate everybody who grabs a couple, dude. Thank you guys. They've been doing really well. Where are the t-shirts? Right here. If you just go to the website, just go to all. Right here, you just click view all at the top. Here's the new Top Boy shirt that we got. And here's the shirts. I need to fix that. Why is it going invisible? Okay. There's the She Took a Legion. We have this one as a shirt, of course. We have the second variation right here. And if you wanted the Goy bots, of course we got that. I like how I put a little smile on them. Delivering your Goy slop. There you go. We have a few variations so you can pick and choose what you like. Give me that. Give me that, bro. Give me that shit. Yeah, but they're complete. Yeah, there's 7 of you online there right now browsing. Gimme that. Gimme that, bro. What else? Yeah, I have 4 variations of them. We have a bunch of mugs too that I put up. Of course, all the old ones. Oldies but goodies. Delivering your Goy slop. I swear this is one day going to become the actual future. We're fucking memeing and laughing it, but this is not good. Not good.
A damned 911 donated $5. I had a 40-year-old woman approach me at the pool hall the other night. She looked 70, asked for my number. I politely said no while wanting to throw up in my mouth. All the work I've done in the gym to get granny-looking chick? Hell no.
70, dude? What in the world? My lord. That's an insane pool she was going for. 70. Sheesh. Oh, she looked 70. That's horrible. She might have been 40 then. That grippy. Someone said, hey man, at least you're attracting women. Holy fuck, boys, we're down so bad right now. That is not a flex. That's not good. What time is it over there? It's 8 o'clock at night, dude. Yeah, we'll end it right at 8. We'll end it right at 8. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you haven't joined us on the private community, join us for some of the calls, like the video you saw early in the stream. Thank you so much to everybody that's been getting shirts, mugs. I need to turn these into stickers too. These would make perfect stickers for water bottles and, you know, like thermoses and all that stuff. These are perfect. Yeah, I just appreciate everybody that's subbed over on Kick. Everybody that's donated. Everybody that's given kicks, super chats, all that stuff, man. Thank you guys so much. Do appreciate you for tuning in as usual. We'll be back on. Well, we weren't supposed to stream today, but I had nothing else going on. And it's my off day. I didn't go to gym. So why not work, dude? Why not? Got to do something. I inspired you to finish your app. Nice. 3 full years unemployed. You're 50 and poor. You'll send me an email when you finish the app. Congratulations, brother. I'm glad I was able to light a little spark in you. You're doing most of the work. It's not me. So, yeah, you missed everything, Tycoon. It's over. It's over. We're calling it. So, but thank you so much, guys. Hope you did enjoy the show. We just kind of got on for an impromptu one. And usually Thursday through Sunday is when we're streaming, of course. But, hey, doubling up. Why not? Let's do some extra. Anyways. Good night, everybody. Good morning and good evening, depending where you are in the world. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.